Dr. Fred Barge was basically a freaking chiropractic poet. He was a principled, passionate chiropractic poet, and he had a way of delivering chiropractic philosophy that would get into your head. You're like, oh my gosh, that is so true scientifically. And then the next sentence or the same sentence was right in your heart and right in your soul. And you were just, whoa, I'm in. Whatever this man is about, I'm about. All right, chiropractors and chiropractic students, welcome to the Family Practice Podcast. You know, the one you've been waiting way too long for, because this podcast will actually stay focused on chiropractic. Not only what it takes to get world-class clinical results for kids and families in your community, but also what it takes to build a legendary, incredible family practice that takes care of your family way beyond your dreams. I'm Dr. Tony Ebel, and I'll be joined by Dr. Matt Hill, Dr. Ellie Wright, Jackie Jacobowitz, and incredible guests, chiros, associates, CAs, all these folks making massive impact around the world. We're going to cover everything: pediatrics, perinatal, family practice. This is the podcast you've been waiting for, because moms and dads and families have always needed us. Now they're finally ready for us. I hope you're ready for the Family Practice Podcast. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, live from La Crosse, Wisconsin. Just kidding. And I'm trying to I don't have a Fred Barge impersonation because his voice was just too legendary. And man, when I got prepared for this Lessons Learned from Legends episode, last month we did, where else would you start, right? Other than Dr. BJ Palmer. And it's so hard to choose who to go to next when I have a ton of these already mapped out and ready to go. So get ready to listen to these and share the heck out of these. Let's do these chiropractic legends the honor of continuing to spread their stories, and not just their stories. I'm always going to share their stories and what I've learned from them in a very actionable, strategic way. I'm in practice. Everything I love to learn, not from a, oh, that's cool standpoint. I love to learn like, oh my gosh, that stuff works. I'm going to do that and do as much of it as I can because it clearly works for them. That's the framework with which I learn and do. So it's the framework with which I teach. So you can do. So anyways, Dr. Fred Barge and all the people that are going to make these Friday episodes, they absolutely deserve their stories to never, ever go quiet. They deserve the strategies, the philosophies, the lessons they taught us as chiropractors, literally, actually for generations to come. It is essential that these lessons continue for generations to come. So can you do chiropractic a favor? And if there's ever a family practice episode you share, make it be these first Friday Lessons from the Legends. Please put this on your Instagram stories. Please post it up on your Facebook page. Please text it out to other chiropractors right meow. I will totally allow you to hit pause on this episode and do two things. One, if you have not read already Dr. Fred Barge's book, Life Without Fear. There's a bunch of other amazing ones, but I'm going to share primarily from Life Without Fear right here. Go order that book and then come back to the episode, okay? And then also please share it. Please put it up on your socials or please send it out to your friends. Let's get into it. I was joking before. If you've never heard an audio, if you've never heard of like an on-purpose audio, or go to YouTube, I'm sure they're there, and check out some Fred Barge lectures and audios because his voice was so legendary. And if you've never visited the great state of Wisconsin, it was never ever difficult to know where Dr. Fred was from because they live, especially the dudes up there, they live differently north of the wall. I'm in the very northern edges of Illinois. So if you don't know your U.S. geography, just literally 7 miles to the north of my farm. So I'm recording this one from my farm studio. So looking to the north there, and 7 miles to the north is where livers are tested to their ultimate capacity. You want to test adaptability, live the Wisconsin lifestyle. And so anyways, paying homage to Dr. Fred with this episode. Let's go. So Dr. Fred Barge graduated from the Palmer School of Chiropractic in the 1950s. He practiced in La Crosse, Wisconsin, beautiful flippin' area, for decades, serving thousands of patients with full spine, subluxation and annihilation. And obviously, this man was such a great educator, philosopher for chiropractors. I can only imagine the blessing it would have been to be his patient. There's no wonder that the state of Wisconsin and here in the upper Midwest is, as far as the states go, you will never find better chiropractic heritage than in Iowa, in Wisconsin, in these areas that if you're like me and you get to practice in this upper Midwest region, not only because Palmer was there, but because Palmer draws, it's just geography, right? Draw a lot of chiropractic students from more of the local area. Obviously, Palmer draws from all over the world, leading chiropractic college for so long. But you just get these world-class chiropractors then setting up in La Crosse, Wisconsin's and Mount Orab, Wisconsin's and Davenport, Iowa's and South Dakota's and Minnesota's and Illinois' and so forth. And so what a treat it would have been to be his patient. He taught not only at Palmer, but he really was known throughout the U.S. and internationally. He had a very powerful stage presence and memorable lectures. And the coolest thing about everything I learned from Dr. Fred, including his books, is they're the really just masterful blend of science. Dude knew his stuff, right? With getting patients better clinically, looking at subluxation and the adjustment. So they were just this powerful mixtape blend of science, philosophy, and story. What was really, really incredible about Dr. Fred is his ability to tell story. And I'm going to do my best to recount one that I heard from an On Purpose interview many years ago. And I always get a little bummed when I talk about Dr. Fred. I think I mentioned it, then I got off track talking about Palmer and the timing of everything. He was teaching philosophy classes at Palmer not too long before I showed up there and enrolled and got started. And so I just missed him. And I had Dr. Strang and Dr. Koch and some incredible philosophy professors. Oh, man, though, nothing against those legends. But if I could have learned in person from Dr. Fred Barge, then the lessons I could have shared here today would be even more impactful for you, your practice, and this incredible profession as well. So what Dr. Fred Barge did as well is he authored more than a dozen books, had countless essays. So here's a list of a few of the books. We're going to really dig into the first one for the next 5 to 10 minutes for this episode. Life Without Fear. Are You the Doctor? Doctor. We actually reference that one a lot in our clinical certification program. One Cause, One Cure. Oh, another legendary book I could do a whole episode about. From the Far Side of the Green Books and Subluxation, what it is, what it isn't, and what to do about it. So what his writings focused on was, without any shadow of a doubt, his lead horse, his trump card, was vitalistic, big picture philosophy of chiropractic. He really knew that everything we do was about tapping into innate intelligence and the body's self-healing capacity. And then he also knew if you take all of that bigness, you take everything we can talk about with vitality, and today's world, people kind of love salutogenesis, bit of a weird word, right? Close cousin weird word to innate intelligence and vitalistic. I wish they were all a little bit more mainstream. They're not, but we can still take our words, put it into theirs. That's what he was really good at, and make sense of it. But his central theme was vertebral subluxation. Subluxation is the worst. You want to talk about how life really is lived, full health, full expression, full vitality. You got to get rid of the number one thing that limits that, which is subluxation. And he was a very strong critic, thankfully. And man, could we use him today. He was a strong critic of the medicalization of chiropractic, which is saying, hey, we're just spinal therapists. We're just limited. You would have to literally not understand neurophysiology. Like if you so we teach a 14D model now as we kind of roll into 2026 with PX. So we get into dyskinesia, disaphantation, dysautonomia, dyskinesis. That's the 4D model I learned from. You're gonna hear episodes about Dr. Kent and Dr. Fletcher and Dr. Gentempo on these lessons from legends as we go along. Promise you those 3 names. So I remember learning the 3D and the 4D model of subluxation. I am a good mentee, and I believe that the thing we owe these legends, and we owe our professors and our mentors and our teachers, is we owe it to them to take the impactful, incredible, life-changing work they've done and make it better. Get it out to the world, improve upon it. We're not a very good student if we just take it and leave it. We're a much more impactful student and mentee if we take it and run with it and expand it and again, keep it in its lane, keep it in its frame, and then take it to the world. And so where I'm going with this is, if we look at even just understanding neurophysiology a little bit, which remember, Dr. Barge taught a lot of science in his book. So that's why I'm referencing this to Dr. Barge. And if you even just look at like dyskinesia to disafferentation, you can't limit the subluxation. First, you have to accept, oh my God, subluxation is a real thing. It's not a historical concept. Subluxation, even if you want to literally only refer to, no, you can't, because you'd just be dumb to do it. But if you're like joint fixation, segmental dysfunction, yes, causes dyskinesia, disafferentation, dysautonomia, dyskinesis, desaturation, dysregulation, developmental dyskinesis. I mean, the list goes on, right? Distortion, and which is an asymmetrical problem. So you're going to mess with the right and left brain. I mean, literally, you give me one of those Ds out of the 14D model of subluxation that we teach. And actually, there's a really cool course called the 12D model of subluxation that you can tap into if you want literally just a $295 course of me teaching you the neuroscience of subluxation at the most modernized level. Shoot us a DM, shoot me a DM, and we'll get you that course. Back on track. What I love is he was so staunchly strong in his understanding of the neuroscience of subluxation. That's why he was so convicted to not let chiropractic be anything other than that. Because anything other than taking care of subluxation isn't chiropractic. Now, if you've added other therapies, other treatments, and other modalities to your practice, you probably find yourself saying something like, yeah, but the adjustment's the main thing. The adjustment is the focus. Of course, the adjustment in chiropractic is the main thing we do. If you ever have to say the words, yeah, but, whatever you end up saying after that is typically not fully true. That's just how language works. And so there's nothing that I'm saying right here that says, hey, shockwave, decompression. Like if you want to be a disc injury expert, you'd probably be pretty crazy to not have decompression. If you wanted to be the soft tissue healing maestro of the world, you'd probably be pretty crazy to not have shockwave, soft wave, whatever it's called, I really don't know. But if you wanted to be the most transformational chiropractor in your community, you don't need anything other than chiropractic. And so the first lesson that I'd like to embark upon this episode, and I have no idea why I said embark there, it just came out and I don't think it actually fits. And so it's harder to do a podcast than write a book, because when you're writing a blog or an email or a book, you can like write a word and then you look at it and you're like, that's a dumb word. And then you can put a new one in there after you delete the dumb one. Not on a podcast though, not going to rewind live. So anyways, the one thing I wanted to, in the lesson, impart upon you, I'm really searching for it now with this one, is that when you are as literally committed to chiropractic like Dr. Fred Barge is, you therefore by nature are as against the medicalization of chiropractic as he was as well. So he served as the president of the ICA, sat on all sorts of chiropractic boards, advisory councils, and he just fought for philosophical purity in all sorts of cases. He was a vocal defender of the subluxation-based only model when there was tons of pressure from inside and out the profession to change it. He literally did a lot with clinical care, the Barge analysis system. He was absolutely obsessed with postural distortion and objective analysis. Again, the man was a clinical wizard, which is why he was so strong in defending everything. And he was really a huge mentor to a generation, thousands of principled chiropractors. So let me bring home two more lessons from this one. The man's energy. You want to grow your practice? Learn how to speak. Go to Toastmasters. When I was in school, I was so inspired by the stories of Dr. B.J. Palmer, literally growing the clinic and growing the profession through lectures. I was so inspired by the stories of Dr. Fred Barge and Dr. Reggie Gold, listening to Valley of the Blind on my iPod, all that time, listening to, the greatest communicators like Dr. Patrick Gentempo, Dr. David Fletcher, Dr. Troy Dukowitz, Dr. David Jackson, like literally listening to these chiropractic communication experts, and then looking at what they did with their practices, used their ability to communicate and articulate the philosophy, the science, and just the life transformation capacity of chiropractic to their communities. And guess what it did? It built their practices. So as a chiropractic student, finishing reading Life Without Fear and listening to a bunch of Dr. Barge's lectures that they had there in the library that I could go get, some were on CDs and everything else. And I would just listen to Dr. Fred, I would listen to Dr. Reggie, I would listen to Dr. BJ's orations and lectures and everything else. And I realized I cannot do even 1% of what these legends did. So if there is a lesson from this episode of lessons learned from the legends, every single one of them mastered their ability to communicate and articulate the message of chiropractic, and they did not just do it in the four walls of their practice. They took it to their communities. They took it to the world. And so if you ever get, and do it, go on YouTube, go to the Palmer Library and find, audios of Dr. Fred Barge and these legends, and just listen more so than the first time through. Maybe don't even necessarily try and take notes and listen to and write down, hey, they said this and this means this. Just feel their delivery style. Feel their conviction, their certainty, their passion. Dr. Fred Barge was basically a freaking chiropractic poet. He was a principled, passionate chiropractic poet, and he had a way of delivering chiropractic philosophy that would get into your head. You're like, oh my gosh, that is so true scientifically. And then the next sentence or the same sentence was right in your heart and right in your soul. And you were just, whoa, I'm in. Whatever this man is about, I'm about. And so one of the things he was known to, and I'm going to say it, it's just so, I'm going to read it, but I'm not Dr. Fred Barge with that ability to just orate in this way. So a couple of quotes here to share. I'm going to try and put a couple of these into each of these lessons learned from legends. We chiropractors work with the subtle substance of the soul. We release the imprisoned impulse, the tiny rivulet of force that emanates from the mind and flows over the nerves to the cells and stirs them into life. That's Dr. Fred Barge, paraphrasing what he learned from Dr. B.J. Palmer, which if you missed last month's Lessons Learned from Legends episode, it was all about Dr. B.J. And I really, really, really love this one. He says, because he's so convicted to keeping chiropractic pure, he was known for saying, there is no right way to do a wrong thing. All right. I told you I wanted to bring a couple of nuggets out about his book, Life Without Fear. So give me a couple more minutes. I'm going to actually shift a bit off of my chiropractic brain and heart, and I'm going to go into my parent concept too. So what Dr. Fred Barge, and I'm going to do my best to give you a couple little nuggets from this book, but you got to go read the book. Go order the book, Life Without Fear. There's a mandatory reading in chiropractic. It's the chiropractic textbook and then Life Without Fear. Those two must read. Okay. So what he talks about is fear is the root of all dis-ease. What Dr. D.D. Palmer, all the way back, so people that would have taught Dr. Barge, what they knew is out of the three T's, thoughts, traumas, physical, toxins, chemical, and autosuggestion, thoughts. The third is the worst by far. That will literally jack up the nervous system. Just think of your patients. How many patients do you have who eat healthy, work out, cold plunge, run marathons, zone 2? They do all this other sort of stuff. They're so freaking healthy in terms of the kind of like lifestyle attributes that today's modern world would say, hey, this is healthy, but they're riddled with anxiety and fear. And you run their HRV and you run their scans and you do your subluxation analysis, and how freaking subluxated are those people? Seriously, more subluxated oftentimes than people who eat like crap and freaking don't exercise, but have the most positive, forward looking. How else would you explain the people who smoke till they're 90? Like, the truth is health is multidimensional. The nervous system gets to take in all forms of stress and try and adapt to it and try and be resilient to it. And what Dr. Fred was so amazing at teaching in Life Without Fear is, if you want to know the worst one, it's the F word, 4-letter F word that ends in R, not K. Fear will other F word up your life more than anything else. It's not just an emotion, he writes. It's a subluxating force. Let's say that one more time. It's not just an emotion. It's a subluxating force. Chronic fear, anxiety, and stress disrupt the body's innate ability to heal, interfering with nervous system function and creating a fertile ground for dysfunction and disease. So I want to close it down with this. I wanted to talk about this, just work to not only annihilate subluxation, but annihilate fear. When I read Dr. Barge's book, Life Without Fear, it really convicted me as a parent. If there is one thing that I need to fight for with my children and teach them the principles and the habits and the perspectives and the philosophies and the actions that literally chop fear down at its knees, annihilate anxiety, it's that. So if you really want a system, it's not at all chiropractic, but because fear and anxiety has taken over our world now more than even in Dr. Barge's time when he wrote about it and knew about it, fear and anxiety are a bigger deal than freaking gluten and glyphosate and sedentary living, working at a computer all day long. So if there's one thing you really want to master how to speak life into your patients, it's how they can overcome their fear and their anxiety and their stress. And another book that I highly recommend is by Max Lucado, and it's Anxious for Nothing. And you want a third book? Boy, I'm bringing the books into these, aren't I? Read the book. Oh, I just lost his name. It'll come to me. The Anxious Generation by a PhD researcher who's thankfully all over podcasts and the internet right now too, helping teens get and young adults get unfreaking hitched from their smartphone and social media, which is where, if Dr. Barge knew in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, he had to speak up and help his community and help this world overcome fear and not let it be the subluxation force that creates the fertile ground for dysfunction and disease. This is something that now today, as we practice in this era of the explosion of anxiety and stress, we need to master this understanding and master this conversation. And the way out of a life full of fear and anxiety is through our philosophy. It's through our perspective. It's understanding. It's faith first, and it's chiropractic philosophy also. The philosophy of empowerment, reminding people they were designed to heal, not break down, reminding people that subluxation makes fear and anxiety worse. So once you remove subluxation, their brain and nervous system are naturally, neurologically going to move to more positive, vitalistic thinking and be more coordinated and express that innate intelligence and that innate energy. So it's faith, it's chiropractic, it's getting adjusted, it's our philosophy, and then it's the wellness lifestyle. And if you don't understand the neuroscience of all of this, because remember, Dr. Barge knew the science, he knew the practicality, and he knew how to communicate it, get a hold of that book, get in with us at PX. This is how we can change patients' lives, getting them adjusted and then teaching them to live a life without fear. Hey, Dr. Tony here, and I wanted to say thank you for listening to the Family Practice Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe to the show so you don't miss a thing. Also, if you're looking for more content from us, you can absolutely subscribe to our newsletter, watch exclusive episodes on YouTube, and dive deep into the articles and blogs on our website. All of this is linked in today's show notes. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next episode.